Hello, and welcome back to another episode of TIL's Adapt, Create, and Innovate series. Today, joining us, we have Leonard Underwood, who is the founder and CEO of both Leonard Underwood Photography and a very well-known Springfield brand, Upscale Socks. Thank you for joining us, Leonard.
Yes, I'm so glad to be with you, Kelsie.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's just kick things off. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with both Leonard Underwood Photography and Upscale Socks?
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur all of my adult life. I started doing photography when I was in college, more so as a hobby. It wasn't anything that I thought would be, full-time career. I would see flyers on campus and I would oftentimes send an email or call them and ask them if they needed photography services. And I could probably count on one hand how many no's I got. So most people were really willing to give me the opportunity. But my family was telling me to get a real job throughout that. They didn't see that as a viable source of income, a way to support myself. And so fast forward 17 years, and even, well, this is year 17 of photography, but 9 years full-time. So it's certainly possible to turn your passion into a paycheck that that can afford a mortgage and vacation car notes, supporting yourself. So that's been great. And then I've been working out for about 16 years. And prior to that, I ran track. So I've always been interested in fitness, but got more serious after undergrad. And oftentimes people would ask me for tips on when I was in the gym. So I said, might as well just get certified as a personal trainer. And so I ended up getting certified 12 years ago. So that's another source. It's more so, I would say, a hobby, although I do have clients on a consistent basis, something that I haven't been able to devote as much time as I do for my other businesses. And then, as you mentioned, Upscale Socks started or was birthed in 2016 officially. I had a dream in 2014 around this time of the year, one night, and I woke up, told a friend, and I don't know about you, but I rarely remember dreams at night. And so you remember your dreams?
Rarely.
Okay. Yeah, so like for instance, last night, I have no clue what I dreamt about. So it's not very often, but I remember this dream really vividly, and really where I wanted or what the dream was would be taking me on as far as the path. So been having a lot of fun seeing where that's going and the partnerships and all the press and opportunities that has followed just by being really consistent with whatever you dream about or whatever you pursue.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. I know that, like you said, things can be tangible. We just have to, know where to go or know where to start. Or sometimes you don't even have to know that. You could just have an idea, like you said, and kind of move forward from there. So thank you for that share.
Yeah, and with that being said, I felt like I never worked in retail before. I still haven't to this day. And so no one really wanted to help me as someone that had this dream. I would meet people that said, oh, I'm fluent in Mandarin, and I do business in China. And I have a sock line of my own. I've met a couple that have shared that, but no one wanted to share any information. It was like top secret. Right. And so I've said that, well, I'm just going to, research on my own and really find the right channels that will get me to the place where I'm at. Even though I'm still learning a whole lot, I'm enjoying the path to get there. But I made my business going forward to really mentor small businesses that may not even be in that space, but I often get called on. I'm very humbled by it to support startups, be it on a college level or just on the community level, emails. And sometimes I'll say, man, I did all this research for manufacturing, probably over 30 manufacturers across the world. Mm-hmm. And I still get emails and I look into them. And then some will ask me for, hey, who's your manufacturer? I'm starting something too, and I need a resource. So, I have to tell them, I said, this is like gold, because I did a lot of communicating back and forth, and some will be like, no, you can't have it, or no response, which is what I've gotten initially. And I really wasn't looking or digging for it, those details, but just kind of some insight and some direction. But oftentimes I'll still share some pertinent information and give them some guidelines as to move forward, so they're not just out there and then stuck for years and years. Because as I mentioned, I had that dream in summer of 2014, and I didn't launch until 2016. So I was really committed to it and consistent. I was working behind the scenes. I was drumming up a lot of conversation and fanfare, if you will, excitement, and getting perspectives on it along the way. So with all of that, I think being, believing in it and not looking for it overnight is key for anybody that's looking to start something, because we see a lot of people see the glory in what happens. I just left a startup business that's grand opening next week, and that was a long journey for him to get there. It's a Star Brewery in Springfield, and I can just imagine the challenges that go along with that, and especially being a person of color. I think he's one of 5 Black-owned breweries in Massachusetts, so it's not easy. It's a very small space for them, but with over 200 in the state, so it's it just shows the disparity. But that's another topic.
Thank you for that, Sharon. No, I agree with you 100%. You gotta really just have to take the time out, if you really want to hone in on things and kind of perfect things. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it would help if people did their research before they started, and kind of move them in the right direction. So I definitely agree with you.
Absolutely. And I feel like attracts like.
Yes.
When it comes to having good products, great marketing or content that you're creating, partnering with the right organizations, networking, all of that really, you will attract those types of people. And your network is your net worth. I think that's just so critical. I swear the dividends that I paid early on with photography I'm reaping those benefits now through partnerships, because people want to collab now on, for Upscale Socks, or they want me to do business or invite me to these roundtable discussions or judging panels, or I'm being asked to photograph when, a city official comes to, or a state official comes to the area, and I'm a part of that. So it's always still very humbling and gratifying, and it never gets old.
Thank you for that. So I know you mentioned that you had a dream, and that kind of really geared you towards, Upscale Socks and, being an entrepreneur in that light. So can you share with us an outrageously creative moment that you've had that really just kind of sparked your innovation and, helped like, this is what I want to do, and I know this is why I'm here?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, around this time, I get a lot of ideas when I'm in the shower, and I thought it was just me being, the tranquility, but I did look it up, and they say that a lot of ideas for people come in spaces like that. So for those of you out there, just quiet yourself, maybe turn off the music if you're listening, or, blasting, but, if you're a creative, that might be a good spot. So I had this idea to create a sock for the city of Springfield, where I live, Springfield, Massachusetts. And so, I have the benefit of knowing some people that work for the mayor. So I contacted them, and the mayor was all over the idea. He said, oh, we can have a press conference, invite all the press. And so that's what we ended up doing about 2 months later. And I don't know if it went viral in the sense of, millions of eyes, but I mean, I sold so many socks in like 2 or 3 days. I mean, order after order, based on, people seeing on the news, or, seeing it in the local Mass Live, newswire, or the newspaper, the Republican, or just buzz around town. And then even those that didn't purchase, they said, oh, I saw it on the news, and they were sharing and really excited for what that meant, because it's a great keepsake. People would have me autograph their socks, it was really cool, like iconic, and then even some hotels, they wanted to partner because they because people visit the city, and it's a nice way to welcome them to Springfield and have them in the hotel room. And they're in the visitor center downtown as like a specialty item for people to purchase. So I would say that was, I don't know if that's considered outrageous, but it was really poignant, and it really catapulted Upscale Socks at a great time. At that point, I was about 2 years in and had good traction, but even more eyeballs and more, people across I would say the region. And those that no longer live in Springfield wanted a piece of Springfield,
Right.
as an item to have. And so I'm working on a Massachusetts sock too. And I've gotten the attention of some people like the governor. So I'm hoping that we can do something similar as well later this summer around that.
I might have to get me a Springfield and Massachusetts pair of socks. I'm out here in DC. I gotta represent.
Yeah, and I have a New England sock too, New England nautical. So just try to be really authentic and relevant and intentional about how I approach things. And people have, and it's along with that, it's kind of sparked interest with people saying, oh, let's partner I partnered last month for Mental Health Awareness Month. And I knew about mental health, but didn't know about Mental Health Awareness Month, didn't know about the color green being the symbol. But I just know that there's still a lot of work to be done, as we hear about a lot of celebrities that suffer with mental illness, and even it being still taboo in the Black community, or even other communities. So starting the conversation, continuing the conversation, is really good. We did the same thing with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Last year, we partnered with Bay State Hospital, hoping to do something for AIDS Awareness Day in December. And so just really seeing how that all can play in with a cause and purpose, and it being bigger than just sales, but giving back. And so that's another thing that we've been having a lot of innovative fun with, partnering with nonprofits and children, nursery programs, daycare programs rather, that have needs. And if there's a way that we can support them, be it through tangible items, or we donated, we had a scholarship as well that we donated in honor of my sister. So we're just out here trying to really make a difference as much as possible.
No, that definitely speaks to a lot of people. So I know that also definitely speaks for you. So I'll let you answer this next question for yourself. So who are you, and what is your organization about? If you tell us like a little story or a little background about like really who is Leonard Underwood?
Yeah, I would say I am a creative 30-something-year-old who is enjoying this entrepreneurial path of life, and creating, doing things on my own terms, I would say, as well. It would be a way of describing. I'm someone that recently, within the last maybe 7 years, has enjoyed the long distance running path as well. I ran track in high school, but it wasn't anything beyond that. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully running a half marathon, maybe later this year, and then a full marathon, and maybe by age 40 in a few years. So I would say that's another aspect of me. I have fun watching people realize their dreams as well. I love planning as well. So I don't even have to be a part of the event, but just watching or being a part of the planning stage is something that I get a lot of joy and excitement out of as well. Single, don't have any children yet. And so that's another, I guess, aspect of who I am.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
I'm a child of the king.
Hey, that aren't we all? Yep. I thank you for that share. So my next question is geared toward more so how you get inspired, to like keep going every day. I know you mentioned the joys of life and, enjoying being an entrepreneur and how much freedom you can get. But, if you could tap in a little bit more and tell us, what inspires you to, keep going?
Yeah, I would say I'm inspired daily just by people sharing how much joy they get out of the photos that I take, or I'm there for their special moments. So last Thursday I had a wedding, and they decided to do a first look photo shoot. So all their family was there to witness them see each other for the first time, you know, before they get married, dressed up, and the tears were flowing. And I'm capturing those moments of, you know, them reciting their vows to each other. And so I'm a part of those really poignant, significant moments for many people, be it high or even low. So I just finished the slideshow for someone's homegoing tomorrow. So unfortunately, that'll be played at the deceased funeral, but the family members have all those memories that are locked in on this DVD. So I'm inspired by that too, because people really appreciate the effort that I put into that production and how they're able to have a copy and preserve it. You know, I'm inspired daily by driving or jogging around wherever I'm at. And I said, you know, that's a sock right there, you know, because it's, you know, green grass and there's sunflowers. So I have a sunflower sock recently added to my repertoire. So I'm inspired by everything I see, you know, and I know that may sound simple, but it doesn't take much for me, at least as an artist, to have my eyes wide open and see things for all the good and the beauty. And I'm really inspired with Springfield, where I live. Recently, we installed, or the city has installed, about 10 new murals. And I love art. I love graffiti. I love color. And so that is inspiring too, as someone that's always seeking places to photograph my clients or my or upscale socks, or even a space to work out that may be a little different and you know, fun. So all of that is inspirational for me too. And to be honest, Kelsie, I oftentimes I don't follow a lot of people outside the people I know. They try to keep my ideas really mine, if you will, you know, and really pure. I don't think I follow any celebrities. I love celebrities, and, you know, I'll say, hey, I wonder what Beyonce's talking about. You know, I'll go on their page briefly, but I don't, you know, follow them daily to see what's on their story or anything. So as I mentioned, a lot of my ideas come through when I'm in the shower. So they're usually original, or just, they may snowball into something greater, or someone may share an idea with me that may be inspiring to them. As I mentioned, with these partnerships that I've been able to be a part of, someone will share a tip. The event I just left, 3 different businesses came up to me and want to do their own design and for a sock, you know, so it's pretty cool how that has been happening. I tell them it's not as easy as me designing a t-shirt, you know, I have to go through a lot of different steps, you know, with manufacturing for that to happen, but we can do it if you're patient.
Right. No, I understand completely. And I also don't follow a lot of celebrities. I think I follow maybe 3. And even those 3, they don't post as often.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I think, and a lot of times I feel like social media can be very distracting. So I do also try to stay, you know, off for the most part while I'm trying to do my work, stay focused and things like that. So I definitely can resonate with that. And I definitely can resonate with keeping your ideas your own, because a lot of people have a lot of ideas, and then, you know, sometimes you could share your ideas with maybe the wrong person or people, and then poof, it's gone, you know. And that's a lot of what we do with TIL. Like, we're dealing with one instance right now where someone had shared their idea with someone, and someone else has gone and tried to get it patented. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that, you know. And it's just things like that in the world that, you know, kind of hinder some young people from trying to be entrepreneurs, or, you know, trying to aspire and achieve their goals. But, you know, you gotta keep pushing. if it's really what you want to do, you gotta keep pushing, you know.
Yeah, you're right. And the whole trademarking thing is really important. This hasn't happened to me, but I'm privy to some businesses that had to rebrand because of names or whatever is happening in a different state or even locally. And so that's important, that you preserve or protect rather your identity.
Yeah.
and go through that process is so important, especially if you really want to own it, if you will. If you're sold on what you're doing, then just go through those steps. It's so worth it. And
It's very
then
worth
the
it.
agony. And as I witnessed that happen, I said, wow, if that happened to Upscale Socks in particular, I'm okay with Underwood Photography be changed on some levels, even though I have quite a bit of people aware of that. But with Upscale Socks, it was, people in the community will say, hey, how's Upscale Socks? Because it's become more familiar. So
Yep.
I would be hurt. And
yep, very much so hurt. It's like, oh, all your dreams, just poof. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All of this will have to be gone.
Just a blank slate at the back. Yeah,
yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Ripping it off the packaging and website and everywhere, man.
Manufacturer, yeah, we gotta scrap that stuff and we gotta start anew. Yep, can be definitely can be tough. Definitely can be tough, but sometimes it's a necessary evil. So that leads us to our next question. So, in your own terms, how does what you do create value for you and I guess for your community around you? And in what ways have you been able to see not only your success, but like you mentioned, others as well?
Yeah, I kind of touched on the partnerships. When I started Upscale Socks in particular, I wanted it to be more about just me making money and supporting myself. But I wanted it to be about how I can inspire others and make a difference. So some things have been organically happening recently, but when I had the dream about Upscale Socks, I want to have Suit Your Souls campaigns where I mentioned, I donated socks to the Springfield Public Schools and to Square One, which is a daycare program for children, and then Educare Springfield last year, and scholarships and more things that we're planning on doing in the future. So I really wanted that aspect to be there, and then as I mentioned, I coach or support businesses as well on the collegiate level through UMass right now, and where I'm walking them through that process. And next week I'll be judging some I think 5 businesses as well for some startup funding. I just really want to be a vessel, if you will, or an example of just having mustard seed faith and taking it much further. And then also letting people know that it doesn't always take capital. I think, let's say if you, Kelsie, had the idea of having a lemonade stand at 10, your aunts and your uncles and cousins would all come and support you, more than just giving you the $3 for the lemonade, but they would also give you, hey, here's $100 because I believe in you, to take this even further than that, to get shirts and to, have, merchandise available beyond, what you're currently providing. So I think I hope that answers your question when it comes to just kind of going beyond just who I am and supporting the community beyond Springfield and taking it even further with no interior motives.
Definitely, because you can help as many people as you like, but if your intentions aren't right, and if you're in it for the wrong reason, it can kind of lead you and your mission astray. So I definitely understand, and it's definitely important. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Totally.
So now the question of the hour. So, we had this unforeseen pandemic, kind of really just came out of nowhere. Can you share with us how you and your businesses were able to either adapt or, kind of change in the COVID pandemic times?
Yeah. So with photography, I remember when the governor declared Massachusetts a state of emergency. I think it was March 15th. Yep. And actually yesterday marks the end of the state of emergency. Thank goodness, right? Yep. 15 months later, I believe it is. So when that happened, I felt like hair was falling out, even though I don't have any hair. I shave it. I have hair, but no hair really. So when that happened, I felt like, wow, this is real, because I would get emails and calls and text messages from businesses saying, yeah, we're not having our prom. We're not having this annual dinner. And no, we're not getting married anymore. And no, sorry, grandma's 75th birthday's postponed or not happening either. So I had to really, take a deep breath and say, well, I'm not alone in this I'm not in by myself. There's millions of others dealing with the same situation. And I'm sure help will be on the way. So I honestly don't lose sleep, and I didn't lose sleep. I don't spend all that I make either. So I really just started planting flowers. I started adding some mileage to my runs. I made it up to 10.5 miles of running. I focused on, in the business where we call it pivoting. So I pivoted. People would still call me for their senior photos or wanted to support me as a small business. There's even organizations I partnered with, like Mercedes-Benz in Springfield, where they matched gift card purchases. So people would go on my website for Upscale socks and purchase, $50 or $100 gift cards, and they would match it. Mercedes, that is. So, I survived. But I will say, photography was tricky, more tricky than the Upscale socks, because when stores close, people really want to support small Black-owned or minority-owned businesses, and they really did. I'm like, $200 orders and $50, $75. And I would often say, wow, what are they buying them for? Or I would be at a community festival, and especially Blackout Tuesday last year and Juneteenth and other community festivals I was a part of, because I had time. Unfortunately, I can't really do the Saturday festivals now because people are back getting married and having, big events. But during that time when I had a full Saturday available and I couldn't go to the gym or anything beyond just that, it was so great and amazing. And I was really, I just really appreciate the support by everybody. And I even, would see you out at some things. So I would say, Upscale socks definitely grew. I think over 10 styles were birthed over that time and manufactured. It allowed me to be more creative with my content that I was creating. It allowed me to travel outside of, Western Massachusetts to other places. I wanted to go to Rhode Island last year, but I couldn't because the borders were closed on us, and that's fair. But I mean, my mind was so clear, to be honest. I was able to write down so many ideas that haven't come to fruition yet. And I always say, well, if it's not now, hopefully maybe it's within 10 years it'll happen. It's okay. There's no timeline on this. If I'm in it for the long run, I'm okay with it. And that just goes back to being patient. Oftentimes people want things right now. No, it's got to happen summer 2021. And I get it. Sometimes, there's a time stamp on things, but hold tight, it's worth the journey, it so is. So, and then with personal training, I was doing some virtual sessions, and some people were really comfortable with, being outdoors doing sessions. It was tough during March because in New England it's not warm, but once the weather changed quite a bit, I was able to do some of those sessions as well. But as some people unfortunately didn't want to work at all. and unfortunately, we've seen the results of what happened because of that. But I'm around if anyone has a need.
Definitely, thank you for that. So I know you mentioned, the long run and stuff. So what comes next for you and all of your businesses?
Yeah, so this is year 17 for Upscale for Underwood Photography, and I'm thinking about retiring from doing photography after 25 years. So that'll be in about 8 years, and I'm thinking of becoming a consultant and doing more classes and coaching businesses, because you can be a really good artist, but not really good at business. You don't follow up, you don't follow through, you don't deliver on time. And I don't know how much you want to address that, but I see it often, unfortunately. And I wasn't probably the best, let's say, year 2 of Underwood Photography. I've grown, obviously, and you want to grow always. But as a more mature business or seasoned business owner, I have seen it, and I really want us to be great. If you want to have great opportunities, if you really want to pursue, the pinnacle of anything. And then, so that's Underwood Photography. I'm satisfied with where it's at right now. And then with personal training, I think that will continue to be there. Not really sure totally where I see it in 5 years. I think I'll continue to support those that have goals for get married or turning 45 and I want to lose weight, or I'm looking to bulk up, whatever the case is. And then with Upscale Socks, I am writing a book on entrepreneurship, and we will officially be 5 later this year. And I'm thinking about tying that in with the anniversary, if all goes well and on time. So that's kind of where I see things in the short run with Upscale Socks. And then people have ideas for other hosiery as well with Upscale Socks, which I may tap into as well. And the other thing with Upscale Socks, we're partnering with businesses as well. I'll be making an announcement with about 4 new stores that we'll be in the New England area and outside of. So we're excited about that path as well that we're on.
That's awesome. So, might have to get that book, teaching a little something about entrepreneurship.
Yes, all things are possible.
Yes. All right. So before we wrap up, do you have any parting words to share with the audience? Maybe to anyone who aspires to be an entrepreneur, or anybody who just has an idea, and doesn't really know how to really play it out.
Yes, absolutely. So there's so many support programs out there. I know locally where I live, there are, accelerator programs is what they're called. Nationally, there's SCORE, business mentors that you can Google and find out about. So the people really want you to win. I think right now the economy is 30 to 40%. I've seen 40, but I recently seen 30%. So it's around those numbers for entrepreneurs. So there has to be enough support out there for you to really flourish and do well with what you're pursuing. I would also say if you're new at it, find someone that can mentor you on some levels that you can call up and say, hey, what do you think about this? And do your taxes too, because people try to avoid that and it will catch up with you. It's not worth it. Yeah. Not even going to really address the PPP loan. We'll see what happens with that in the future with people. But, make sure you do right because there's a lot of eyeballs on you and you don't want to go to federal prison or have to worry about anything. But I would say, as I mentioned, be consistent. That's one thing I mentioned already with whatever you're pursuing. Once you start something, even if you're not making any sales for a month, still post, still discuss what you're doing. You don't want to be that person say, hey, I know it's been a while and you haven't posted in like 6 months. Try to be as committed to what you're pursuing as you can. I would say be courageous as well. That's another tip. Have the courage to go up to someone that you don't know. A lot of the models that you see on my social media page for Upscale Socks, I have never met. That may seem weird, but I only know so many people based on what I'm looking for sometimes, or there may be a great jazz artist that I love what they're doing and I reach out to them. So that's the way of being courageous, I would say. And then being patient. I mentioned that also. You really want to believe in what you're doing, but not look for it overnight. That usually doesn't happen. There's so many steps to making things happen and flourish in your business. So it may not take 2 years like it took me, but it may take 6 months or it may take 2 months for it to be done well and for it to be to your liking.
Right. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. So thank you, Lenny, for joining us. And on behalf of TIL and myself, we loved having you. And thank you also everyone who tuned in. So we are going to sign off.
Yeah, thank you, Kelsie. Great seeing you.